What makes a small, shiny stone so valuable? We see diamonds everywhere. They sparkle on engagement rings, promising a future of endless love. They adorn the necks and ears of celebrities on red carpets, signaling immense success and status. For many, a diamond is not just a piece of compressed carbon, it is a powerful symbol. It represents commitment, wealth, and a moment so special that it must be marked by something equally special. But is this value inherent in the stone itself, or is it something we have created? This question is more complex than it first appears, pulling us into the fascinating world of human psychology, marketing genius, and our own predictable irrationality. We often believe our decisions are logical. We think we choose a diamond because it is beautiful, rare, and a good investment. We compare prices, look at specifications, and believe we are making a rational choice. However, the forces that truly guide our desire for these glittering gems are often hidden from our conscious minds. They are rooted in our social nature, our emotional responses, and the clever ways that markets have learned to speak directly to our deepest instincts. The story of the diamond is not just a story about geology. It is a story about us, about what we value and why we value it, often in ways that defy simple logic. Think about the last time you saw someone announce their engagement. What was one of the first things people asked to see? The ring. The diamond becomes the physical proof of a very emotional promise. Its size and sparkle are often, perhaps subconsciously, measured as a proxy for the size and sparkle of the couple's love and commitment. This connection is not accidental. It has been carefully constructed over decades. We have been taught to associate this particular stone with this particular human experience. We don't propose with rubies or emeralds in the same way, even though they are arguably rarer and equally beautiful. Why the diamond? The answer lies in a brilliant campaign that sold an idea, not just a stone. This essay will explore that very question. We will peel back the layers of tradition and marketing to look at the raw mechanics of value. We will examine the so-called objective measures like the 4 C's and see how they stack up against the far more powerful forces of human psychology. We will look at how scarcity, advertising, and social pressure can make an object worth thousands of dollars. We will also consider how modern changes like lab-grown diamonds and ethical concerns are challenging our old ideas. In the end, you might look at that shiny stone on your finger or in a jeweler's window and see something entirely different, a mirror reflecting our own wonderfully irrational minds. When you step into a jewelry store to buy a diamond, the salesperson will almost certainly begin by explaining the 4 C's. These are carat, cut, clarity, and color. This system was created to bring a sense of order and science to the process of buying a diamond. It feels rational. It gives us a framework, a set of criteria we can use to compare one stone to another. It makes us feel like we are making an informed, logical decision, much like comparing the horsepower and fuel efficiency of a car. This feeling of being in control is comforting, especially when we are about to spend a significant amount of money on something so small. Let's briefly look at what these C's mean. Carat refers to the diamond's weight, with a heavier stone generally being more expensive. Clarity measures the internal and external imperfections, or inclusions, with a flawless diamond being the rarest and most prized. Color is graded on a scale from colorless, which is most valuable, to a light yellow or brown. Finally, cut does not refer to the shape of the diamond, but to how well its facets interact with light. A well-cut diamond will sparkle brilliantly, while a poorly cut one will appear dull. These 4 factors work together to determine the stone's final price tag, giving us a neat, tidy formula for value. But here is where our predictable irrationality kicks in. While the 4 C's provide a logical framework, our brains don't process them with pure logic. We are swayed by things that have little to do with these technical specifications. For example, the jump in price from a 0.9 carat diamond to a 1 carat diamond is often disproportionately large. The visual difference is almost imperceptible, but the psychological barrier of the 1 carat mark is enormous. We are not just buying 0.1 more carats of weight. We are buying the status and satisfaction of a milestone number. The 4 C's give us the vocabulary to justify our decision, but the decision itself is often driven by these hidden emotional and social levers. So, while this system appears to be a clear guide, it is more like a rationalization tool. It allows us to explain our emotional choices in a logical way. We can tell our friends, I chose this one because of its excellent cut and VS1 clarity, when the real reason might be, it just felt right, or it sparkled in a way that made me happy. The 4Cs create a facade of objective value, a neat and clean story we can tell ourselves. But the true drivers of a diamond's worth are found not in gemological charts, but in the messy, fascinating, and often illogical workings of the human mind, which we will explore next. Humans have a simple, built-in mental shortcut. If something is rare or difficult to obtain, it must be valuable. We see this everywhere. Limited edition sneakers, vintage cars, and first edition books all command high prices because there are not enough to go around. This is known as the scarcity heuristic. Our minds automatically associate rarity with quality and desirability. When we are told that diamonds are incredibly rare, a product of immense pressure and heat deep within the earth over billions of years, our brains light up. We instinctively feel that such a rare object must be special and therefore worth a great deal of money. This perception of rarity is a powerful psychological trigger. It taps into our competitive nature and our fear of missing out. If everyone could have a diamond, would it still be the ultimate symbol of love and success? Probably not. Part of its appeal is its exclusivity. Owning a diamond signals that you have obtained something that most people cannot. It is a form of social proof, a way to display your status and resources without saying a word. The sparkle of the stone is not just physical light, it is the glow of social distinction. We are not just buying a rock, we are buying a position in a social hierarchy. The physical properties of the diamond also play a role in this psychological game. Its hardness and durability, the fact that it is the hardest known natural substance, contribute to its mystique. It seems eternal, indestructible. This makes it a perfect metaphor for undying love and unbreakable promises. When you give someone a diamond, you are not just giving them a beautiful object, you are symbolically giving them something that will last forever. This idea of permanence is incredibly appealing to us as mortal beings. The diamond becomes a way to defy time, to crystallize a moment and a feeling into an object that will outlast us. So our brains are wired to value what is scarce, what is socially desirable, and what feels permanent. The diamond happens to check all of these boxes perfectly. But here's the fascinating twist. The scarcity of diamonds is largely a carefully constructed illusion. While high-quality diamonds are indeed not found on every street corner, they are not nearly as rare as the industry would have us believe. For much of the 20th century, the supply was intentionally and masterfully controlled to maintain this illusion of extreme rarity. This manufactured scarcity is where the story of marketing genius begins, turning a relatively common stone into one of the most coveted objects on Earth. Before the 1930s, diamond engagement rings were not the standard. They were a luxury for the wealthy, not a middle-class necessity. So, what changed? The answer is one of the most successful advertising campaigns in history. During a time of economic depression, the diamond company De Beers hired the advertising agency N.W. Ayer & Son. Their goal was not just to sell more diamonds, but to fundamentally change social attitudes. They needed to link the diamond to the emotional core of human experience, love, and marriage. They needed to create a new tradition, one that would make buying a diamond feel essential. The agency's strategy was brilliant and multifaceted. They started by creating a story. They commissioned famous painters to create works depicting romantic moments featuring diamonds. They loaned spectacular jewels to Hollywood actresses to wear in films and at the Academy Awards, ensuring that diamonds were constantly associated with glamour, beauty, and romance. They sent lecturers to high schools across the country to talk to young women about the new trend of diamond engagement rings. They were not just selling a product, they were embedding an idea deep into the cultural fabric. The diamond became inseparable from the dream of a perfect proposal. Then, in 1947, a young copywriter at the agency, Francis Garrity, came up with 4 simple words: "A diamond is forever." This slogan was pure genius. It perfectly captured the stone's physical durability and linked it to the emotional ideal of eternal love. It suggested that, just like the diamond, your love would be unbreakable and everlasting. The slogan was so powerful that Ad Age later named it the best slogan of the 20th century. It transformed the diamond from a mere luxury good into a profound symbol. It created a psychological need where none had existed before. Suddenly, not giving a diamond felt like you were suggesting your love might not last forever. This marketing masterstroke shows how value can be constructed out of thin air. The diamond itself did not change. Its chemical composition remained the same. What changed was the story we told about it. We, as consumers, are not always rational agents weighing pros and cons. We are story-driven creatures. We buy things not just for what they do, but for what they mean. The De Beers campaign gave the diamond a powerful meaning, a story of love, commitment, and eternity. And by doing so, they ensured that for generations to come, people would be willing to pay a high price to make that story their own. Imagine you walk into a store to buy a new watch. The first one you see is a dazzling luxury model with a price tag of $10,000. Wow, you think, that's expensive. Then the salesperson shows you another beautiful watch for $2,000. Suddenly, this second price doesn't seem so bad. In fact, compared to the first one, it seems like a reasonable deal. This psychological principle is called anchoring. The first piece of information we receive, the $10,000 price, acts as an anchor that influences all subsequent judgments. The jewelry industry understands and uses this principle masterfully. When it comes to diamonds, the anchors are set very high. The narrative created by advertising suggests that a diamond ring should be a major purchase. This idea was reinforced by another clever marketing tactic from De Beers, the suggestion that a man should spend 1 month's salary on an engagement ring. This later evolved, in some places, to 2 or even 3 months' salary. This wasn't based on any economic reality, it was a completely arbitrary anchor. But it worked. It set an expectation. It gave buyers a benchmark, and in doing so, it made spending thousands of dollars on a ring seem not just acceptable, but normal and appropriate. Jewelers use this anchoring effect within their stores as well. The most prominent displays often feature the largest, most flawless, and most expensive diamonds. These are the pieces that set the high water mark. Most customers will not buy these stones, but seeing them first makes the other diamonds in the store appear more affordable by comparison. A $5,000 ring seems much more attainable after you have just looked at a $50,000 one. The jeweler is not just selling diamonds, they are managing your perception of price. They are creating a context in which their target prices feel like a good value. This is a powerful example of how our decisions are not made in a vacuum. We are always comparing, always looking for context. The concept of expensive is relative. By establishing a high anchor, whether through salary rules or in-store displays, the diamond industry has shaped our perception of what a diamond should cost. We stop asking whether the price is objectively fair and start asking whether it meets the established expectation. This shift in thinking is subtle but crucial. It moves the conversation away from the diamond's intrinsic worth and toward its perceived worth within a cleverly constructed framework of high expectations. For most of the 20th century, the diamond market was not a free market at all. It was a carefully managed monopoly, or more accurately, a cartel, run by one dominant company, De Beers. The story we were told was that diamonds were rare. But the reality was that new diamond mines were being discovered, from South Africa to Siberia. If all of those diamonds had flooded the market at once, the laws of supply and demand would have taken over. Prices would have plummeted, and the illusion of rarity and value would have been shattered. De Beers understood this threat perfectly. Their solution was to control the supply. De Beers established a single channel, the Central Selling Organization, or CSO, through which almost all the world's rough diamonds were sold. They made deals with new mines, agreeing to buy their entire production at a fixed price. This ensured that the mines had a stable income and, more importantly, it prevented them from selling their diamonds independently and crashing the market. De Beers would then stockpile these diamonds, releasing them onto the market in small, carefully controlled quantities. This created an artificial scarcity that kept prices consistently high, year after year. This level of control was unprecedented. De Beers could essentially set the price of diamonds worldwide. If demand weakened, they would simply sell fewer diamonds from their massive stockpile until prices stabilized. If demand was strong, they could release a few more. They acted like a central bank for diamonds, managing the supply to maintain price stability and, of course, their own profits. This system was the engine behind the "A Diamond is Forever" slogan. The slogan promised eternal value, and the cartel's control of the supply chain made that promise a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your diamond wouldn't lose its value because De Beers wouldn't let it. This long era of control is fundamental to understanding why diamonds are so expensive today. The prices we see are not just the result of mining costs and market demand, they are a legacy of a century of deliberate price manipulation. While the De Beers cartel has less power now than it once did, with new producers in Canada and Australia choosing to sell independently, the high price structure they established remains largely intact. The expectation of high prices has been baked into the market. We continue to pay them because for 100 years, we were taught that this is what diamonds are supposed to cost. For decades, the story of the diamond was tied to its origin deep within the earth. The romance was in its ancient, natural creation. But technology has introduced a disruptive new character into this story, the lab-grown diamond. These are not fakes like cubic zirconia. They are real diamonds. They have the exact same chemical, physical, and optical properties as a mined diamond. If you put a high-quality lab-grown diamond next to a mined one, even a trained gemologist cannot tell the difference without specialized equipment. They are, for all intents and purposes, identical. The introduction of lab-grown diamonds creates a fascinating psychological dilemma for consumers. On one hand, you can buy a stone that is physically identical to a mined diamond, often larger and of higher quality, for a significantly lower price, typically 30 to 50% less. From a purely rational perspective, this seems like an obvious choice. You get the same sparkle, the same durability, and the same beauty for a fraction of the cost. It really challenges the very foundation of the traditional diamond market, which was built on the premise of natural rarity. How can something be considered rare if we can now create it in a laboratory? On the other hand, the traditional diamond industry has responded by emphasizing the story. They argue that a mined diamond has a history, a soul, a connection to the earth that a lab-created stone lacks. They sell the romance of a billion-year-old creation, not just the physical object. This forces us to ask ourselves what we are truly buying. Are we buying a collection of carbon atoms arranged in a specific crystal lattice? Or are we buying the story, the tradition, and the symbolism of a natural gem? The choice between a mined and a lab-grown diamond is a direct test of what we value more: tangible properties or intangible narratives. This conflict is reshaping the entire industry. Younger generations in particular seem more open to lab-grown options. They are often less swayed by traditional narratives and more interested in factors like price, size, and the ethical implications of their purchases, which we will explore next. The rise of lab-grown diamonds exposes the core tension in the diamond's value. It separates the physical object from the psychological story that has been wrapped around it for so long. As these stones become more common, we are all being forced to decide for ourselves what makes a diamond truly valuable. For a long time, the beautiful sparkle of a diamond hid a dark side. The term blood diamond, or conflict diamond, entered the public consciousness in the late 1990s. It referred to diamonds that were mined in war-torn areas and sold to fund conflicts, insurgency, and brutal human rights abuses. The movie Blood Diamond brought this issue to a mass audience, making many consumers uncomfortable. People who were buying a symbol of love suddenly had to confront the possibility that their purchase might be tainted by violence and suffering. This created a new dimension in the psychology of diamond buying, the ethical dimension. In response to public pressure, the diamond industry established the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme in 2003. This was an international agreement designed to prevent conflict diamonds from entering the mainstream market. It requires participating countries to certify that their diamond exports are conflict-free. While the process has had some success, critics argue that it has significant loopholes. It defines conflict diamonds very narrowly, focusing only on those used by rebel groups to fight governments, and it doesn't address broader issues like forced labor, unsafe working conditions, or environmental damage caused by mining. This growing awareness has led many consumers to actively seek out ethically sourced diamonds. They want to know the origin of their stone. They are looking for assurances that their diamond was mined and cut under fair labor conditions and with respect for the environment. Jewelers are responding by offering diamonds with documented origins, often from mines in countries like Canada or Botswana, which have strong labor and environmental regulations. This adds another layer to the diamond story. The value is no longer just in the 4Cs or the romance. It is also in the peace of mind that comes from making a responsible choice. This shift toward ethical consumerism is another force challenging the old ways of the diamond industry. It shows that our definition of value is expanding. For an increasing number of people, a diamond's worth is diminished if it carries a human or environmental cost. This is where lab-grown diamonds also gain an advantage, as they can be marketed as a guaranteed, conflict-free, and more environmentally friendly alternative. The search for an ethical sparkle demonstrates that our purchasing decisions are not just about satisfying our own desires for status or beauty. They are also about expressing our values and feeling good about the impact of our choices on the world. So, we return to our original question: is the value of a diamond real, or is it all just in our minds? After looking at the evidence, the answer seems to be a fascinating mix of both. Yes, a diamond has tangible qualities. It is hard, it is durable, and when cut correctly, it interacts with light in a uniquely beautiful way. These are real physical properties. But these properties alone cannot explain why a small stone can cost as much as a car or a down payment on a house. The immense value we place on diamonds is largely a psychological creation. It is a value built on a brilliant understanding of our human nature. It leverages our instinct to desire what is scarce, even if that scarcity is manufactured. It is anchored by clever marketing that set our price expectations high. It is wrapped in a powerful story, a narrative that skillfully connects the stone to our deepest emotions of love, commitment, and the desire for eternity. We are not just buying compressed carbon, we are buying a symbol, a story, and a social signal. The diamond industry did not sell us a stone, it sold us an idea, and we fell in love with it. The emergence of lab-grown and ethically sourced diamonds forces us to confront this reality head-on. These new options strip away some of the old narratives and ask us to create new ones. They challenge us to think about what we are truly paying for. Are we paying for a billion-year-old origin story? Or are we paying for a symbol of love that is guaranteed to be conflict-free? The choice is no longer as simple as it once was. The market is diversifying, and as a result, our own definition of value must become more personal and more conscious. Ultimately, the story of the diamond is a perfect illustration of how value is a social and psychological contract. An object is worth what we, as a society, agree it is worth. For a century, we agreed that a small, shiny stone from the earth was worth a fortune. Now, that agreement is being renegotiated. So the next time you look at a diamond, don't just see the sparkle. See the reflection of our own wonderfully complex and predictably irrational minds. And then ask yourself a simple question: what does it mean to me? In the end, that is the only value that truly matters.